Hey, how's it going, guys? If you don't know me by now, my name is Adam, and I'm the producer here at Russell's YouTube channel, as well as the director and editor of the Top 100 Greatest Survivors web series. If you guys missed the recap that Russell had this week with the Survivor Specialists or the special announcement video that we put out yesterday, we won't be having a normal Top 100 episode this week due to interviews being canceled because of coronavirus and the hurricane, as well as us not wanting to interview or interfere with the Big Brother All-Stars premiere that's tonight, as well as a few other reasons. Scheduling wise, as it was playing now, the finale episode of this Top 100 where we count down numbers 10 to 1 would have landed on Labor Day weekend, and we didn't want you guys to have to choose between Labor Day weekend and watching the finale, because we got some really great, awesome, amazing stuff planned for the finale for you guys. We didn't want to have to make you guys either miss it or miss Labor Day. So instead, this week we're going to do a shorter episode. It's not going to last super long. We're basically going to recap what we've shown you guys so far, numbers 100 to 51, as well as some other cool stuff. So yeah, sit back and enjoy this recap. Again, it's not going to last super long, but starting next week, we're going to continue and resume the countdown where we left off. We're about halfway done. We are halfway done because we just showed number 51 was Dom. He was the number one person in the bottom half, and starting next week we'll start the show numbers 50 through 41 and continue the episodes as normal. So yeah, we got a couple things planned for this recap special. So first off, we're going to show you guys a quick overview of what you've seen so far, numbers 100 through 51.
Troy is definitely one of my favorite people.
Laura Moret, challenge beast.
He's one of the lost great Survivor characters.
When Boo played Survivor, he didn't tell any of us anything.
I consider Burton Roberts one of the greatest players to play the game ever.
Being on the island with Shane was something else.
I love Abby Maria.
I'm always going to put Monica number one no matter what.
I think he's an underrated winner.
Kenny is actually really great.
Devin was a very, very likable guy.
Well, Wu's loyalty and his integrity was key.
She's got a wicked, great, sharp tongue.
Christian's great.
It was interesting playing with Jervis in my second season.
You want to be on Danielle's side. Let me put it that way.
But at the end of the day, she got some game. Mama got some game.
So Zeke, I think, totally embodies what a new school player is.
With Keith Nail, what you see is what you get.
I love seeing him, and he's just like the sweetest, kindest person.
So, yeah, I did enjoy playing with Rodney.
She wasn't a weak person at all.
Oh yeah, Andrew Savage, yeah, to get cream of the crop.
Playing with T-Bird in Africa was lovely. She is an absolutely lovely person.
Hayden is always on my list.
Terry was a beast. He was a challenge beast.
I think Tommy played one of the best social games that we've ever seen.
Ben is one of my favorite people to play with ever.
I honestly didn't think I could have asked for a better partner out in All-Stars.
Joey is literally the amazing.
I call Eric the silent one as an oxymoron.
We're going to see Rick Devens a lot.
She's really intriguing. I think she just goes all out.
Brett, super intense. He's very good. He's a professional athlete.
Playing with Fabio was very interesting.
She's such a nice person to be around.
It was cool working with Nick, man. Nick was understanding, Nick would listen.
Jenna Maraska is one of the quintessential social players of Survivor.
But he is hands down the best survivalist. Like, that guy should do Naked and Afraid.
By the time she got to the All-Stars, she was right up there. I think she did a great job.
Big Tom is one of the funniest people that I've ever met in my life.
He's probably the smartest player to ever play Survivor.
He's just super pleasant and lovely to be around. He's a great person.
I was very hopeful to work well with Eliza.
Jonathan Penner is one of the funniest players and one of the most entertaining players that I've ever watched.
But Cass, I have no beef with Cass. She's awesome.
In my mind, she was a winner. So I treated her like a winner.
Danny plays a game that is so underrated.
Dave is just one of the nicest guys inside of the game and outside of the game.
It was awesome to play with Dom. He out there on the island, we became very close.
So far, we've captured about 20 hours worth of interviews. And to be honest, from numbers 100 to 1 with all 10 episodes, we're probably only going to be showing about maybe a tenth of all the interviews that we're going to show all the interviews, but we're only going to show about a tenth of all the footage that we've captured through the interviews. So here's some of the stuff that you didn't get to see that didn't make the top 100 so far.
At the number 1 spot, and why?
Ooh, the number 1 spot, I really have to give it to Sandra. I think she like both of her seasons that she played, she killed it. She kept it very simple. I love her simple approach. As long as it's not me, I think she's like a queen. So I think that number 1 spot absolutely go to Sandra.
So for me, a game that would remind myself of the way that I might be able to play would be somebody like Rob Sesternino in the Amazon. Somebody who is, really a clever thinker, thinking strategically, is able to not be seen as a massive threat because, we're not the biggest, baddest guys in the room. And so maybe can sneak under the radar a little bit, but also be thinking strategically the entire time.
Being on the island with Shane was something else. I mean, Shane has a gift. Shane has a gift that I don't think I've ever seen anybody else have. He can call your mother the worst name in the book, and 5 minutes later get you eating out of the palm of your hand, out of the palm of his hand. He's really volatile and really emotional, and so he has these crazy outbursts. But he has this ability to pull you back in, and he's really funny. He's magnetic, and you're drawn to him. I like to think of Shane as like the king of the 5-minute conversation. Like if you sat down and talked to Shane for 5 minutes, you'd be like, wow, amazing. Tell me more. And you might be agitated by some things he says, but somehow you're still willing to listen to the guy.
Corinne was another player who you played with who did get invited back for fans versus favorites. So did you notice anything about Corinne, and did you notice any evolution in her game between Gabon and Caramon?
Okay, I just like to point out to everyone that she came back as favorites versus fans and favorites. Apparently, Lynn Spillman forgot that I won fan favorite that year, except I also often say when people say, how come you haven't been invited back? And I said, they like mean and big tits, and I don't have either one of them.
Let me get rid of that. So, okay. So Yao Man, great person, unbelievably smart. He's probably the smartest player to ever play Survivor, intelligence-wise, IQ-wise. I heard like Dave might have had the highest IQ, and I asked Yao Man one time. I said, Yao Man, I heard Dave has like 50 IQ, something retarded. And he says, well, I was never tested. That's his way of saying I'm right there with that, so.
I was really able to trust him, and he was able to trust me, so that we didn't need to be around each other all that much in order to find out information. I always trusted if he was off with another group, and he always trusted if I was off with another group, and that we always had each other's back. No matter what we would have said with the separate groups, if someone was coming after Troy, I don't know that I would have tried to talk him out of it initially, but I definitely would have let Troy know it so that he could do something about it. But ultimately, had there been a situation where they were going to go after him, I would have stepped in and really tried him not to, because I wouldn't have gotten to the end without him, and I don't know that he would have gotten to the end without me.
Yo. Hey, how's it going?
What's up, Adam?
Thanks so much for taking time out.
In my daughter's bedroom, but I'm thinking I'm going to switch
the environment here. If this is going to be on, is this being recorded visually? Yes, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let me just see if I can't find a better location than where I am.
No
Last
worries.
thing I want to do is look at my daughter's trophies.
And what was it about Devin that got him so far in the game?
So am I supposed to give the politically correct answer here or the real answer here? I mean, Devin was a very, very likable guy.
So Amanda Kimmel is someone who you got to play with as well. The first person to play 2 times and make it to the end both times. What does she do that allows her to get so far?
I have no idea.
If you yourself were going to make your own personal top 100 greatest survivors of all time list, who would you put up there at number 1?
Number 1? I don't even freaking know. I don't know. I would never pick. Nothing personal. I would never pick.
With that being said, is there any people who you play with that you particularly don't want to speak about? We can just skip over them.
We can skip over Philip.
Okay.
The beginning of the game, him and Sean, were friends with Michelle and kind of isolated themselves as the cool kids. I was a member of that alliance. However, I also had the opportunity of working with the non-cool kids. And when we had the twist in which Drake finally threw a challenge just to trim some weight, that shelter is really tight with 8 people. And so as a result, we threw the challenge. Morgan gets to pull one player that's safe from tribal, and their options, I would imagine for them, were either Rupert or Burton, and they chose Rupert, which in retrospect was a horrific decision because Rupert's big thing was Drake loyalty, and with Burton, Burton loved those alpha males that was on the Morgan tribe. If they had pulled him, he would have stayed with them.
I have no idea where I would be on the list of the greatest survivor players. Like I said, I think that there's just so many people that are good at the game for different reasons and in different ways. So I've always kind of been an underdog. So if you put me in like the underdog category and having to like scrape my way to the top and just find a way to make it work every time, then I'm probably in the top of that category. But there are many other people that are higher on the list than I would be. So it would be an honor to even be on a list like this because there have been so many great people over the course of 40 seasons that have played Survivor.
Day one on to call and hearing about the Poker Alliance and hearing that Yul was potentially the one that had sort of circulated the concept of the Poker Alliance pregame was not ideal for me. The Poker Alliance, I think, definitely affected my game overall. Who knows, who's to say how it would have played out differently if that had or had not been something that people had talked about before the season started.
But each one of us were very much aware within Stealth or Us exactly of her limitations. And we understood exactly her weakness, which was give her a name, let her believe that, in fact, she's dominating, she's controlling, she's influencing, she's in full control. She was like the Al Haig. For those who know, when Ronald Reagan was shot, General Haig went before the podium and said, "I'm in charge," when in fact, he was not. There's something called the Speaker and others, the Speaker of the House, who would occupy that role, the Vice President who would occupy that role before he could state he's in charge. And Corinne did a lot of little things where she'd walk around and try to present that she was in charge. And so very quickly, she and I relationship, though she was telling me one thing, I knew immediately, Andrea knew immediately, Cochran knew immediately that she was not to be fully trusted.
And then if I remember correctly, I think you were a decent fan of the show before coming on. Watching the show before coming on, did you have a favorite player coming into it that had played in a previous season?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't, I had a lot of favorite players that I liked watching. Johnny Fairfield was one of my favorites with that lie with his grandma. That's what really got me like excited. Like, oh man, this guy, the way he lied, Russell, of course, he was great at the game. At the end, I think he blew it at the end with the final tribal where he just couldn't put his tail between his legs and just say, guys, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, he would have won the game if he did that, I think. But I love the way he played, how aggressive he was. I love Sandra's game, how she was under the radar, but as bold as she was out front, she was still under the radar, which was crazy. A lot of players, I could go on and on and on. I mean, a lot of players.
A big part of counting down the top 100 greatest survivors has been seeing where the winners are ranked. So we have had a few winners. We have a bunch more. A majority of the winners are in the top 50. And obviously by now it's no spoiler that all 38 winners of Survivor are on this top 100 list. So here are the winners that we've shown so far in order from worst to best. All right, so the next part of this recap special is we are going to do a special preview in which I'm going to tell you guys the top 50. Of course, I'm not going to do it in order. I'm going to tell you guys the top 50 survivors in alphabetical order, so as not to spoil. If you're a true Survivor fan, I feel like you probably should have at least a good idea of who the top 50 names are, but obviously not the order. But I'm going to tell you guys who the top 50 are. It's going to be in alphabetical order. If you still don't want to be spoiled and you want to keep it a complete mystery, then go ahead and skip ahead about 2 minutes for the next part of this special. But in alphabetical order, here are the top 50 greatest survivors. So we got Adam Klein, Amanda Kimmel, Aris, Brian Heidick, Chris Doherty, Sierra Easton, Sari Fields, Coach Wade, Courtney Yates, Colby Armstrong. We got Denise Stapley, Earl Cole, Ethan Zahn, James Clement, Jeremy Collins, Jerry Manthey, John Cochran, Johnny Fairplay, JT Thomas. We got Kelly Wentworth and Kelly Wigglesworth. We got Kim Spradlin, Lex Vandenberg, Malcolm Freeberg, Michelle Fitzgerald, Mike Holloway, Natalie Anderson, Boston Rob Mariano, Ozzy Lust, Parvati, Richard Hatch, Rob's sister Nino. We got Rudy Bosch, Rupert Bonham, Russell Hantz, and yes, Sandra Diaz-Twine will be on the list. Sarah Lucina, Sophie Clark, Spencer Bledsoe, Stephen Fishback, Stephanie LaGrossa, Sue Hawk, Tina Wesson, Todd Herzog, Tom Westman. Tony Vlachos managed to squeeze his way onto the list, so he'll be in the top 50. We got Tyson Apostle, Vesepia Towery, Wendell Holland, and last but certainly not least is Mr. Yul Kwan, the winner of Cook Islands. So that is the top 50 in alphabetical order. Obviously, it will not be anywhere close to that order, but we'd love for you guys to, replay that, write down the names, and we're interested to hear where you guys would put those 50, or who amongst those 50 be your top 20, top 10. Obviously, you don't have to, but we'd love to hear. We love hearing how you guys rank the survivors. Obviously, no one is going to agree with this list. We've yet to have a comment be that this list has been perfect and exactly the way they would make it. So we expected people to have, people higher, people lower. So we love hearing how you guys put people on the list. But that is the top 50, and that was the last part of this recap special. I'm going to go ahead and throw on for you guys what you saw at the end of last week's episode, which is the preview for episode 6, which will air as scheduled next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So here is the next time on for episode 6 of the Top 100 Greatest Survivors, where we're going to be counting down numbers 50 through 41. So enjoy that, and after that this video will end. And thank you guys so much for understanding that we just weren't able to put together an episode this week for you guys, and we didn't want to just throw something together last second. We wanted to make sure that you guys got the absolutely best content, especially those who have been tuning in to watch it live every week. It's the best time to watch it because people are chatting. There's a chat room as the episode goes on. I'm in the chat room. Russell's in the chat room during it. Sometimes Philip will tune in. Wentworth has tuned in before. Fair Play. Ozzy's been there. So watch these episodes live. It's so much better seeing people's live reactions to the spots. Of course, if you can't make it, that's understandable. But yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed this. Sorry again that we didn't have a normal episode this week, but thank you so much for all the support for these videos so far. Please continue to like, continue to subscribe, continue to leave comments, and keep hope alive. Next time on the Top 100 Greatest Survivors. As we now enter into the second half of our countdown, we add 10 new names to the ranks. Next week, we present 3 winners and 3 of Survivor's original 16 castaways, one of which had a surprise appearance on Survivor Second Chance, where she played with 2 more people featured on next week's episode. Finally, we round out the episode with 2 female contestants who both finished in second place before playing on opposite tribes in Heroes vs. Villains. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and as always, stay tuned and keep hope alive.
I can control how they think. If I can whoop these all-stars, doesn't that mean I'm the best ever?
I'm Russell Hantz, and this is The Russell Hantz Show.